Last week, I set up a big interview session, and I sat down with 8 new Newfoundlanders, well, 9 technically because there was a couple in there, but 8 groups of people, most of them were individuals. I spoke with 4 super talented, super hardworking small business owners, and then I also spoke with 4 musicians who are part of the Music NL Music Industry Association. Music NL reaches province-wide, but the 4 musicians that I spoke with are all based in St. John's. When I speak with people during the interviews that you may or may not have seen on this channel, I always like to ask how their experience has been in Newfoundland so far, for better or for worse. I want to hear always good things, but the reality is some people have things that are challenging that they want to put out there. And I've said this before, I'm not just in the business of selling Newfoundland and Labrador to prospective new Canadians. I'm trying to paint the picture of the place as realistic as I can to highlight the good, but also to let people know about challenges so that they can prepare or go somewhere else if they feel like the challenges are going to be easier to deal with in another place. So talking with people about the wonderful things in Newfoundland and Labrador always makes me happy, but the reality is if people are coming to live, not just to visit, they need to know how to prepare for some of the challenges that may lie ahead. Whether that be weather, whether that be things like public transportation or housing, whatever the case may be, it's important for people that are coming, because if this is a place that people want to live in, they need to know the full story. Speaking with the musicians from Music NL in particular was pretty cool. I scheduled the interview session back a couple of months ago, really, but it sort of coincidentally timed out really well because it's May 2nd today. I believe that the East Coast Music Awards is taking place this coming weekend, and there's a big contingent from Newfoundland and Labrador that have been nominated. It's pretty cool. And Newfoundland is known for its music industry. We're known to punch way above our weight in terms of the talented artists that come from Newfoundland and Labrador, particularly musicians. And that's one thing that a lot of people say when they come to Newfoundland from somewhere else. They talk about how surprised they were that the musical scene is so rich, and the amount of talented musicians here are just, it's so surprising because it's not a big population. But speaking with these musicians, you know, the goal is always to just learn about why somebody is in Newfoundland, if they came from another place, what kind of things are keeping them here, and just talking about that general stuff is really interesting to me, and I feel like I like to share it because I feel like it's interesting to a lot of people. But the challenges that were brought up in particular by Mariana Carvajal, she's one of the people that helped me organize the interviews because she is just an absolute angel of a person, just genuinely seems to love connecting with people. And that was her initial role when she started actually working for Music NL. She was the connector program coordinator. She was tasked with finding more people, particularly newcomer musicians, who may be able to benefit from partnering with this industry organization. I'm actually working on her interview right now. I do all of the video work myself, and I do all the editing. I'd love to one day get to a point where I can hire an editor and they can help me get through this stuff pretty fast. But as it stands right now, I'm doing the editing myself, and I'm not a super fast video editor. So I'd love to specifically take all of the interviews that were conducted with the musicians and kind of put them all out in a block, like sort of like a theme, but I'm not fast enough with the editing. So it's going to take, you know, a week per video type of thing. It's going to take a while to get these videos out. So because I can't put all of these videos out all at once, I wanted to just mention a message that Mariana shared during her interview about some of the challenges that newcomer musicians face when they come to Canada, but particularly Newfoundland. It's obviously specific to the music industry, and it's definitely pertinent for musicians, but in the general sense, in terms of the retention aspect, this philosophy is something that can be carried forward into a lot of different industries. It's not just about showing how wonderful the place is and how a person can contribute to the greater Newfoundland economy and community. It's about how Newfoundland and Newfoundlanders can help somebody who isn't from Canada feel like they're welcome. And her message is pretty clear. I'm just going to share that piece of her interview here in this video so that you can get an idea of the types of things that that people are seeking when they come to a new place. We need people to come to Canada from all around the world. There's a huge push on increasing the attraction for worldwide talent in all kinds of industries to come and settle in Canada. Newfoundland and Labrador is definitely part of that, and things are going well, things are working, but to keep them working and to entice people that are coming to actually stay, we talk to people that are coming to Canada, settling in Newfoundland, and find out what's going well, what's coming up short. It's actually speaking with the people and finding out what types of things they're looking for. And you might be surprised to learn there oftentimes are things that we have the power to provide.
We need to make sure that these musicians, these artists belong to Newfoundland and Labrador. It is not enough that you put a musician in X stage and you think, okay, well, our job as for diversity and inclusion is done. You need to ensure that these musicians do not have to struggle so much in order to be heard. It shouldn't be the job of a music industry association to create spaces for diversity and inclusion, because the community should be doing that. The community should be asking for these Chinese musicians, for these Brazilian musicians to belong in their community. There is a lot of work to do, but I think that all the efforts of all the immigrant organizations, they should be directed to belonging, to equal belonging, because if we stick with representation, then it's just a check mark into a list, and then it's not enough. The art and the history and the culture of these artists is not a list. It's an actual human being. We need to work more on that. I think that I can see a future in which Newfoundland and Labrador can be known, because there is so much cultural and musical richness that we will be proud of the work that we are doing right now. But in the meantime, it is hard, but that's where the friendliness and the loveliness of Newfoundland people comes into play. Because just as there is a lot of challenges and barriers, I have also met a lot of people who are willing to work with us and are willing to speak on behalf of us to make our music be heard. And that is something that I'm very grateful that it's happening here. So I'm very sure that in some point in the next decade, we're gonna see a lot more diversity and a lot more of music and fun collaborations between people from Newfoundland and people from, anywhere in the world, because musicians do want to come here. This place is a musical treasure, and I can see that if we keep working, we will reach that.